They pulled him from the lobby like he was trash left too long. His shoulder bent out of place, his suit shredded, a guard's elbow pressed into his throat. Eyes watched, mouths whispered. No one moved. But the man they degraded wasn't just another headline. He was the reckoning they didn't see coming. His crime? Standing where they thought he shouldn't. Wearing the wrong skin in the wrong bank on the wrong morning. No outburst, no threat, just presence. And that was enough. They decided his value, his limits, his worth. They stripped him of dignity with velvet ropes and fake smiles. But this one? He was different. And when the backlash came, it would shake their polished floors. Before we unfold the truth behind this story of bias, silence, and power turned upside down, drop your thoughts below. Would you have spoken up? Would you have walked away? Subscribe for the full story. Like if you believe silence protects no one. Inside Langley first, the air felt colder than the marble underfoot. Columns of light fell through glass chandeliers. Every corner dipped in quiet luxury and high ceilings. Silence wasn't absence here. It was wealth, trimmed in crystal and brushed steel. Malik entered without a sound. Charcoal coat, worn khakis, shoes carefully mended, twice over. He didn't fit the scene. No watch flashing, no card gleaming platinum. And that was enough. A guard named Royce saw him by the second step. Square building, slow walk, fast judgment. Need help finding the soup kitchen? He asked, with a smirk that didn't wait for a reply. Malik offered his ID. Royce stared like it might crumble. He didn't hand it back, just jerked his head toward the general services queue. The line marked private clients stood untouched behind its velvet gate. Malik took his place behind a pearl-studded woman and a man scrolling through market graphs. The stares came quickly, disguised as glances, masked as curiosity. Cheston, a manager with gelled hair and a fragile sense of power, leaned from his station and whispered something to a nearby clerk. She covered her laugh with her fingers. No one asked if Malik needed assistance. When he reached the window, the woman behind the glass didn't look up right away. Her badge read D. Her eyes scanned him like a barcode. Appointment? Yes, she typed. Paused. Kept typing. Then gave him a slow nod toward the wall. No chairs, she said. Stand there. No coffee. No courtesy. 2 minutes later, another guest was ushered into a glass room with orchids and espresso. Then came Cheston, again. Clipboard hugged to his chest, chin up, condescension dripping. You waiting for someone? He asked. Not kindly, not professionally. Malik gave his name, his reference number. Cheston didn't look. Try the other desk, he said. We've had people pretending to be clients. Just being careful. He said it loud enough for the teller beside him to hear. She laughed. At the unverified desk, the man behind it scanned Malik's ID, then Malik's face. You making a delivery? No. You here with someone? No. I'll check, the man said. Then disappeared. Minutes passed. No one came back. A woman clutched her daughter tighter walking past him. A man in a silver tie squinted at Malik's shoes like they offended the rug. Then another staffer appeared. You sure you're in the right place? Malik looked toward the front door, then back. I'm exactly where I need to be. He stepped aside, pulled out his phone, called the number etched into the bank's brochures. Portfolio tier services. A pleasant voice answered, all customer service charm. He gave his name, his ID, explained his appointment, confirmed by email. A pause. Then, I'm sorry, I don't see you in the system. She offered to transfer him. The new voice was colder. Male. Firm. Less polished. He asked the same questions. Same doubt. Same tone. Can't find a match. Got a printed email? Number on my phone. That's unfortunate, she said. Click. Transferred again. Another voice. Brighter. Dismissive under the polish. Malik repeated himself. Slowly this time. She put him on hold. The music came. Soft strings. Synthetic calm. While he waited, a woman in pearls entered. No ID. No badge. No check. She was greeted instantly, offered water, a smile, a hand to guide her to the executive lounge. Malik was still on hold, still standing, still being erased. She exhaled like it hurt to breathe. "No, sir. Another system won't change anything." He asked to speak to someone directly. She barely glanced behind her. "Management's upstairs, and short-staffed. We're strictly appointment only today." She motioned vaguely toward the corridor where the woman in pearls had vanished earlier. His phone cut out. The hold line died. For a moment, Malik stood motionless, staring at the silent screen. Then he redialed, this time reaching out to corporate. Another hold, another new voice. Male, efficient, slightly annoyed at the interruption. "Name and account details?" Malik repeated everything slowly, precisely. There was a pause, a shift. "Yes," the voice said. "There's a pending entry. Marked inactive." "Inactive?" Malik asked, jaw tightening. The man didn't blink. Could mean review. Could mean suspension. "Why?" Malik pressed. "I'm not authorized to access that." "But it's my account." The response came flat. "Still restricted." A beat passed. Then the voice shifted tone. "Is there anything else I can help with today?" Malik didn't answer. He ended the call. Across the lobby, a banker in a blue blazer called out, "Mr. Pritchard." A man in a floral shirt raised his hand. They met like old friends. Laughs, smiles, tablet in hand, walking toward the private suites. Malik moved to one of the heavy chairs in the lobby, the kind designed to say, "Don't stay long." The receptionist noticed him again, blinked, then returned to her screen. Another man walked in, tucked shirt, scuffed folder, loud voice about fund reallocations. "Morning, Greg," a banker called cheerfully. Names, recognition, access. Malik sat like furniture, silent, still. His phone buzzed. A survey. "Was your experience excellent?" He stared at the question. Closed it. Then came movement. A sharply dressed banker approached. Too tight suit, too sharp cheekbones, expensive shoes clicking with confidence. Name tag read, Reagan Lyles. He stopped just short of Malik, arms crossed, smirk already in place. No greeting, no offer of help. "You good, man? Restrooms in the back, you know. You don't have to hang out in the lobby just to get bus fare." His voice rode the edge, loud enough to register, soft enough to deny. Malik didn't move. His eyes lifted, unreadable. Reagan leaned closer. "You've been parked here over an hour. If you're waiting for heating shelter forms, wrong building." A bark of laughter broke behind them. A heavy-set man in cufflinks, fresh off the elevator, slapped Reagan on the back. "I swear I saw him rummaging bins near 3rd Street last week. Same coat." Reagan didn't correct him. He just laughed, then looked down at Malik again. "Want me to grab you something? Soup, maybe? You look like you haven't had a meal since tax season." Each line had precision. None were accidental. Malik didn't need to see the stares. He felt them, the invisible crowd watching a public show. The receptionist didn't flinch. Her fingers tapped keys like nothing was happening. Cheston passed by, coffee in hand. Didn't pause. No one stopped it. No one interrupted. This wasn't harassment. It was performance. Reagan leaned in low. His voice dropped. "You people don't get it. This place, it's built to keep you out. You don't look like the money. Don't smell like it. Hell, you don't even breathe like it." Malik inhaled, controlled, quiet, focused on the tile beneath his shoe. Silence wasn't surrender. It was discipline, sharpened by years of rooms like this. Then came the shift. The tone Malik had known was waiting behind all the fake courtesy finally emerged. Casual, polished, and poisonous. The man looked up from the thin folder. "Have you ever actually opened an account before?" he asked. "Or is this more of a support case?" His gaze dropped to Malik's hands. "Do you have someone who usually helps you interpret statements?" No answer. "Any documents on financial literacy, just to confirm your comprehension?" He paused, tapped a page, and gave a thin, mocking laugh. These numbers, you understand them? Still no response. Another figure entered, different presence. A badge on his belt, not police but close. Internal security. His questions weren't questions. We've had a few identity misuse cases lately, he said. Your presence was flagged upstairs. Kind of rare. High-value profile. No matching clearance. He flipped through more papers. Why do you have accounts tied to multiple state regions? Malik answered plainly. My firm operates in 3. The man didn't write that down. Instead, he looked over Malik's shoulder. Was he agitated out there? Royce had returned. He shrugged. Number 2 calm. Then the third one entered. A woman in navy, sleek and unreadable. She took a seat across from Malik, tablet in hand. Are you interpreting these forms on your own? Or with a financial advisor? I work with one, he said. She tapped. How long have you claimed to be a top-tier account holder here? I don't claim, he replied. I am. An eyebrow lifted. She leaned back slightly, then asked, do you have anyone who can verify that? Maybe a supervisor? Someone to vouch? Malik's voice stayed level. My credentials vouch for themselves. She didn't argue. She just looked at him like he hadn't spoken. The room turned silent. No time, no water, no phone. Just still walls and quiet pressure. They asked again what brought him. Again why he wore what he did. Again why he didn't wait to be contacted. Malik asked why he was being kept here. This isn't detainment, the second man said. Just protocol, a safe place while we review. Is this standard? Malik asked. The man shrugged. For some profiles, yeah. Malik sat upright, both hands resting calmly on his knees, breathing deep, deliberate. Eventually the door opened. Royce returned. No explanation, no apology. Just a nod, a silent instruction. Get up. Malik rose without delay, collected his briefcase, and followed. They didn't go back through the lobby. They exited through a narrow corridor that fed into a quieter vestibule near the western end. Waiting there was another man, tall, sharp, corporate. His silver lapel badge read, Operations. He looked Malik over once, then asked Royce flatly, where'd he get those credentials? Malik began to explain, for the 6th time that day. The man cut him off mid-sentence. Then, in full view of clients and staff, he reached and grabbed the briefcase from Malik's hand. No warning, no procedure, just entitlement. The latch gave way, papers scattered, signed documents, transaction sheets, letters with Malik's name and executive clearance. But that didn't matter. Someone gasped nearby, not in outrage, but disbelief. The operations lead crouched, rifled through the files like searching for a forgery, then held one up. These look like prison intake forms, he said with a smirk. Laughter. Another banker muttered, man showed up dressed for probation. Malik didn't reply. He knelt, gathered each paper carefully, folded, stacked, even as the marble chilled his hands. And then a voice rang out from above, measured, firm, amplified to carry. On the balcony stood a man in a tailored 3-piece, folder in hand. That individual matches patterns we've flagged before. We reserve the right to intervene to protect client integrity. The room paused. Movement slowed. Phones lowered. Malik didn't look up. He simply finished stacking his life back into the briefcase, clipped it shut, and stood. The man above kept speaking. We are empowered to remove anyone who disrupts verified client experience. Words like discretion, behavioral risk, operational privilege. No one objected. No one stepped in. Royce stood beside Malik, silent and looming. When Malik turned to leave, the operations head blocked the path. Where'd you get that officer's contact? He asked. Malik didn't reply. The man leaned in and said quietly, you weren't meant to be here, and you knew it. Malik walked, unhurried, unshaken. As he neared the reception desk, someone whispered, finally, back to real clients. Whole vibe's been off since he walked in, another muttered. No one held the door. No one said his name. Maybe it's time, Cordell muttered. To redefine the visual threshold for client access. He smirked. Like luxury hotels screen for credit, maybe we screen for fit. His assistant said nothing. Cordell picked up his phone, thumbed through his threads until he found a draft labeled External Optics, Tier Filter. He began dictating. Suggest signage revisions for high-value spaces. Consider discrete prompts regarding attire expectations. Preemptive messaging may deter lower-tier walk-ins. He added a laughing emoji, then typed, "We're not running a soup kitchen." He pressed send. Downstairs, near the cafe station, 2 junior associates leaned over foam cups, chatting. Dashton, tailored too tight and always smirking, said, "That guy they kicked out? Should be grateful we even let him pass the glass." The woman next to him, lanyard heavy with access, grinned. "They should put it on the door. Under $50 fit? Wrong building." Dashton laughed, pretended to engrave it on a plaque. "Langley first. Excellence expected. Thrift store attire disqualified." No one corrected them. No one blinked. It was just banter. Just culture. Back upstairs, Cordell saw a ping on his screen. Internal. From Cheston. Just 2 words. He's gone. Cordell tapped a thumbs up. Shut off the monitor. He stood, walked slowly to the window, and looked across the skyline like he owned the air. "They always think they're proving something," he muttered, "but they forget who writes the rules." Behind him, a wall of crystal trophies gleamed. Equity Excellence. Urban Branch of the Year. Community Trust Winner. Cordell chewed harder, his grin sharpened. "Just because you buy a seat," he whispered, "doesn't mean you belong backstage." In the lobby, Brienne perked up. A couple in soft leather and muted wealth entered. Effortless posture. Polished silence. She stood quickly. Sparkling water. A call for a manager. Warmth in every gesture. No appointment? No problem. They fit. Elsewhere, a banker passed the chair where Malik had sat for nearly 2 hours. A crumpled dollar bill lay near the leg. He picked it up like it smelled. Dropped it into the bin like waste. Outside, a breeze rolled past. Malik walked slowly away from the building. Briefcase in hand. Contents untouched. Still sealed. Still legitimate. But truth means nothing to a system that denies worth before opening the file. Inside, Cordell had already moved on, reviewing quarterly margins, chuckling in a private chat. One message from Ashton read, "We should just add facial ID cams in the lobby. Faster way to spot who doesn't belong." Cordell replied, "Train it to flag off brand shoes." Emoji. Laughing face. The desk phone buzzed once, then twice, then rang. Cordell barely noticed. Still thumbing messages, still half smiling. He tapped speaker with 2 fingers, chewing the last bland bit of gum. A voice came through. Sharp. Authoritative. "Is this the branch director of Langley First Midtown?" Cordell blinked. Sat straighter. Speaking. No introduction. No pause. "This is Brixton Financial's audit liaison. We're confirming execution of our full withdrawal order. Effective 9:03 a.m. Eastern. The total amount is $2.66 billion. Please confirm." Cordell opened his mouth, but no sound came. "I'm sorry. What order?" he managed. The voice continued. "All assets, 6 corporate, 9 portfolios, 3 insurance accounts. Notification was delivered to your executive office at 8:46 a.m. Would you like it resent?" He stared at his screen. His fingers moved. Tabs opened. Red freezes stacked line by line. This has to be wrong." The voice didn't stop. "Your compliance officer will follow up shortly. We are now reviewing all records tied to client ID, M. Rivers. If misconduct is confirmed, Langley First may face accountability under Clause 12B. His hand jerked toward the speaker volume, then stopped. M. Rivers. The timestamp, 9:03 a.m. The exact minute Malik had walked out. Cordell stood too fast, knocked water onto a binder. His hands trembled. He whispered, Who the hell is he? Outside, Malik sat on a bench facing the west entrance. The sun cast long shadows behind him. His face calm. Posture still. The same man. Same briefcase. Same proof. The building behind him had already started to crack. Upstairs, a senior staffer bolted through the lobby doors, white-knuckled grip on his phone, trying to call a number that wouldn't answer. Inside, Brienne opened a memo. All internal comms regarding client M. Rivers halted. Do not engage. CEO review pending. Whispers replaced emails. Dashton searched the directory. One result. Malik Rivers, founder, Brixton Financial, chair, Vanguard Strategic. He stood, stunned, walked to Cheston without a word. Cheston looked at the screen, his face drained. No, he breathed. That can't be. Ashton didn't reply. Upstairs, Cordell called the regional CEO, straight to voicemail. No message. Then corporate legal rang in. He picked up, hands trembling. This time, no speaker. At the curb, a black sedan rolled to a smooth stop. Malik stood, adjusted his sleeve, reached for the door himself. Before stepping in, he looked once, not at the door, not at the marble, but at the second-floor window where Cordell once stood. Cordell had been watching that floor just hours before, confident, chewing gum, believing control meant ownership. Now Malik was gone, the car door closed, and the sedan slipped quietly into motion. Inside, no one wanted to look at each other. Brienne had just received a silent ping from corporate HR. Please prepare a written account of this morning's incident. Ashton paced behind the teller line, replaying every careless line about cheap shoes and client optics. Reagan hadn't spoken since Memo 2. An internal order marked confidential. Preserve all footage, recordings, and documentation tied to IDM Rivers. Legal review underway. By the elevators, Cheston stood frozen, folder in hand, the same one he had earlier dismissed, now neatly arranged and suddenly too heavy. He had just read it cover to cover. The first page bore a signature from Langley First's CEO, dated 2 years prior. It confirmed Brixton Financial's elite partnership status. Unrestricted access. Priority overrides. The next page listed Tier 0 security clearance. Malik Rivers, one of only 6 with absolute authority. Cheston's throat tightened. Every page reminded him of the smirks he hadn't questioned, the comments he let pass. The final page was brutal in its clarity. This agreement shall remain valid unless revoked directly by Brixton Financial. No conditions, no expiration. Full override access. Upstairs, Cordell finally moved. Hands shaking, he unlocked the concealed fax line used only for legal directives. He fed in a clean request form, staring at the message blinking on the screen. Revoke partnership, effective immediately subject. Brixton Financial instructions, lock all access, seal remaining balances, mark accounts closed. No response. His assistant hovered behind him, pale. Is it real? She whispered. Cordell only nodded. The printer hissed. A confirmation page slid out, signed by Malik Rivers himself. The sender line showed Brixton's private office code. It had been done hours ago. Remote. Silent. Permanent. Outside, Malik remained in the car. Engine on. Windows sealed. He watched without blinking as a young intern jogged from the side entrance, an envelope in hand, stamped internal escalation. He didn't know he was delivering the end of a legacy. Malik said nothing. He pulled a small remote from his pocket, pressed one button. Inside the lobby, every client screen glitched once, then reset. 5 corporate accounts blinked out. Balances dropped to 0. A red banner appeared across every display. Account access restricted. Please contact management. Reagan watched the screens from across the teller bay. Each disappearing digit left a vacuum, like air being sucked from the room. Malik had never raised his voice. But the message couldn't have been louder. Brienne turned toward Cheston, voice barely above a whisper. He could have ended this in 5 minutes. Cheston nodded, eyes fixed. He gave us 2 hours. Let us sign our own sentence. Ashton's phone buzzed again. Memo 3. This one came from corporate comms. Subject: Statement prep. Midtown incident. Langley first deeply regrets the treatment of Mr. Malik Rivers. Internal reviews are underway. A formal apology is being drafted. Conduct investigations have begun. Ashton turned the screen over. Whispered, "We're finished." Cordell made one last call. His last card. An old contact in executive risk. But the voice that answered wasn't friendly. It was Malik's general counsel. Cold. Final. "If this line's recorded, hang up. If not, prepare your legal team." Click. A calendar invite hit Cordell's inbox. Subject: Conduct review hearing time, 2 p.m. Location: National Disciplinary Board. His name was already listed at the top, bolded. When he stepped outside to breathe, his ID badge failed at the door. The elevator locked him out. Just like that, access gone. HR was already in the lobby by 1 p.m., escorted by security. The director of oversight followed, stone-faced, flanked by the ethics panel. Brienne, Reagan, Ashton, Cheston, all called into separate rooms. Each handed a sealed envelope marked confidential review. Ashton read his and crumpled. Reagan didn't read, just folded it flat and set it down, numb. Brienne sat motionless, eyes glassing, tears on edge, but not falling. Cheston tried to argue. Loud. Desperate. "I wasn't told. No one said anything." The woman from ethics cut him off with 5 words. "That's the point. You shouldn't need a reminder to act human." Upstairs, Langley First's press office went into lockdown. The chief risk officer's command was blunt. Brace for exposure. Full transparency or collapse. By that afternoon, Bloomberg broke the headline. Langley First accused of racial profiling. Billionaire client pulls $2.6 billion Reuters. See NBC. They followed within minutes. Verified. Documented. Not rumor. Fact. By 2:43 p.m., the stock began to slide, then dip, then plummet. The scandal wasn't just about ethics. It was about who had walked away and how easily. Analysts warned of class action threats. A shareholder in Atlanta filed an emergency motion. An anonymous staffer leaked chat logs. The jokes, the codes, the filters, the language they'd once called culture. In the branch lobby, for the first time, the TV wasn't muted. The headline crawled across the screen like a verdict. Langley First rocked by billionaire withdrawal. Civil rights probe launched, whispers spread. Some customers quietly slipped away. Others stayed, frozen. Phones lifted to capture the broadcast. One older woman stepped forward and asked a teller gently, "Are my accounts still held here?" The teller faltered. A manager appeared. She was quietly escorted away. By 3 p.m., an internal video landed in inboxes across the company. The CEO appeared. His tone even. His eyes not. He used the words systemic failure. Not PR gloss. Not spin. Shortly after, Cordell's termination was formalized. Subject line: Leadership transition. Immediate. His profile vanished from the internal site. Photo deleted. Name removed from all documents. The final message to staff was simple. Clear schedules. Suspend all client activity. Prepare for internal interviews. Outside, a civil rights attorney stood on the steps of Langley's HQ. Cameras flashed. A crowd gathered. Her words were crisp. No one should have to earn dignity through wealth, and no institution, no matter how gilded, can be allowed to confuse culture with cruelty. She didn't shout. She didn't need to. Her voice carried anyway, and it reached the core of a machine that had mistaken silence for safety. In the weeks after Midtown's collapse, the news cycle did what it always does. Shifted, muted, moved on. But inside those who had watched it unravel, the story didn't end. It lingered, quiet, heavy, unavoidable. Cordell Briggs, once feared, once revered, left the city unnoticed. He declined press requests, refused consultant roles. He moved to a small town 2 states away, rented a 1-bedroom above a hardware shop, applied for a counseling license. He no longer lectured. He listened. The man who had once ruled through silence now sat on folding chairs, hearing the ignored speak. His licensing essay began with one sentence: I thought managing people meant I understood them. I was wrong. Reagan Lyles never re-entered finance. His name had gone viral. His insults, immortal. He withdrew. Hid. Then, one afternoon, he stopped outside a modest brick building with a bronze plaque that read, "Teach dignity before ambition. Brixton's Mentorship Center." He stood outside for an hour before going in. When asked why he'd come, he didn't lie. He said, "Because I failed to see people as people." They didn't welcome him with applause, but they handed him a training binder. That was enough. Cheston left corporate life, tried writing, failed. Critics dismissed his apology blog as hollow, so he stopped defending. Instead, he created a space for others to speak, an anonymous platform for sharing workplace bias stories. He never commented, just read. Brienne and Ashton resigned quietly. Both cited burnout. Neither denied what had happened, neither forgot. Ashton went back to school for social work. Brienne moved across the country, became a teacher. They left behind the people they were. Cordell eventually gave a single interview, not on TV, but on local radio. Asked what he'd say to the man he once dismissed, he replied, "I didn't just fail him. I failed what I was entrusted to protect." Redemption, he added, isn't when you're forgiven. It's when you begin to change, even knowing you may never be. As for Malik Rivers, he never spoke to the press, never filed suit, never testified. He didn't need to. He redirected funds, opened 2 new centers, expanded the scholarship program. One of those centers hired Reagan. Not out of pity, but because real change matters. Malik remembered, but chose not to carry the weight of bitterness where growth had taken root. In a quiet memo to his staff, he wrote, "Justice that heals does not need vengeance." And so, what began as a man walking into a bank ended with an institution remade. The system that once profiled him had been profiled itself, its arrogance exposed, its silence broken. And though some left, and others were left behind, a few stayed, a few bent, a few rebuilt. And this time, they built something worth standing in. The end.